What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Up next on the GM, Play Like a Ravens mock draft. Do me a quick favor, hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Let's talk about it. This particular mock draft is unique because every player I selected in this mock draft, I selected them because they kind of play like a Raven. They fit the Ravens type of player. They fit height, weight, speed. They fit a playing style. They fit a playing type. And so every player that I selected could be a Raven. Every player that I selected in this mock draft has a unique skill set that I think could super benefit the Ravens. So with no further delay, let's get into it.
With pick 35, the Ravens select Xavier Legette, wide receiver from South Carolina. Height 6'1", weight 221 pounds. Strengths: dense, compact receiver with a supersized core, rare mass, and a wide catch radius. Elite explosive threat and size speed anomaly who can teleport upfield through creases. Shows glimpses of high-end throttle control and stop-and-start freedom as a separator. Has great blind spot awareness and can use his speed and bend to peel behind DBs. Able to authoritatively high-point passes and maintain possession through contact. Size, speed, and physicality amount to incredible upside as a RAC threat. With pick 46, the Ravens select Bralin Trice, edge, Washington. Height 6'3", weight 245 pounds. Strengths: explosive, twitched-up mover who can suddenly shift and accelerate with urgent strides. Has a well-proportioned frame with solid length and carries exceptional mass with ease. Combined burst, length, and frame density, which grant him respectable raw power. Stubborn rusher who fights through contact with forceful hands and has a deep arsenal. Can stack combos like double swipes, rips, and swims while manipulating angles. Extremely fast closer once he has a lane to the QB, bringing an unyielding motor. With pick 86, the Ravens pick Johnny Wilson, wide receiver from Florida State. Height 6'6", weight 231 pounds. Strengths: outrageously long receiving threat with a dominating frame and wingspan. Offers eye-catching explosiveness and initial accelerative capacity for his size. Long strides, combined with stride frequency, amount to legitimate deep speed. Effortlessly elongates and snares high passes and has stellar sideline awareness. Physicality translates well both at route stems and as a RAC threat in space. Extremely tenacious blocker who understands leverage and dominates with his traits. With pick 101, the Ravens select Kyrie Jackson, cornerback from Oregon. Height 6'3", weight 194 pounds. Strengths: boasts excellent length and size for the cornerback position, effectively leveraging his physical attributes in coverage. Exhibits fluid movement and ability to maintain low pad level, enhancing his transition skills. Outstanding ball tracking ability, excels at locating and contesting catches with commendable body control. Reliable wrap tackler, demonstrates eagerness to engage physically. Commended for his competitive nature, particularly effective at the catch point with timely interventions. Proficient in press man coverage, adept at mirroring receivers and disrupting their routes. Displays a high football IQ, particularly skilled in zone coverage with a keen sense of anticipation. Effective blitzer, showcasing the ability to circumvent blockers and apply pressure on quarterbacks. With pick 117, the Ravens select Delmar Glaze, offensive tackle from Maryland. Height 6'4", weight 315 pounds. Strengths: well-sized tackle with an appealing blend of natural leverage, mass, and length. Easy mover with great lateral mobility, smooth weight transfers, and good kick depth. Has natural knee bend and leverage acquisition and can keep balance while matching. Consistent pass set and feel for balance provide a great foundation in pass protection. Shows good patience and vision against stunts and can seamlessly gather loopers. Started 32 of 39 games played, with extensive experience at left and right tackle. With pick 127, the Ravens select Braylon Allen, running back from Wisconsin. Height, 6 foot. Weight, 235 pounds. Strengths: has elite size and mass and will be just 20 years old as an NFL rookie. For his size, has great long-track accelerative capacity and can be difficult to slow. Can easily absorb and bounce off solo hits with his tightly packed midsection. Flashes solid vision on inside zone runs and can adjust his tracking angle to follow lanes. Can swerve through congested areas and carve his way into space like an icebreaker. Improved his pass blocking technique in 2023 and has the size and strength to thrive.
All right, man, let's jump in here and talk about why I picked these players and said they play like Ravens and what the association is. Let's start with wide receiver Xavier Legette. Legette is a big, strong, powerful wide receiver, 6'1", 221. He may be the strongest wideout in this draft class, has a lot of athleticism and plays with a lot of physicality. And the reason why I say he plays like a Raven is because he reminds me of a wide receiver the Ravens went out and got several years ago and went and won the Super Bowl with, and that was Anquan Bolden. Anquan was strong and powerful, had a lot of physicality to his game, could make the tough catch, could make the contested catch. And Legette has a lot of similar skill sets. In fact, these guys almost match perfectly when it comes to height and weight. Uh, Bolden was listed as 6 foot or 6'1", 218 up to 222 pounds, depending on which website you're looking at. And Legette is 6'1", 221. So they almost have a perfect match. They both play with a lot of physicality, a lot of toughness. And so that's why I picked Xavier Legette to play like a Raven. He is probably one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft class, not because he's the best or the greatest, but he brings a skill set to the table that the Ravens could benefit from, physicality and toughness on the offensive side of the ball at wide receiver. All right, let's jump to our next guy, Edge Braylon Trice. Braylon Trice is 6'3", 240 plus pounds, so he's a little lighter for a typical edge. But the reason why I say he plays like a Raven is because this dude is tough. He plays with a lot of toughness and power, physicality. He can knock blockers back when they're trying to uh, defend him. He can get to the quarterback. He plays with a relentless motor. And I say he plays like a Raven, kind of an association would be a guy like Edge Terrell Suggs. Now, let me be very clear. He is not Terrell Suggs. Okay. He doesn't have the same hype coming out of college that Terrell Suggs had. But when you think about the physicality and the toughness that Terrell Suggs played with, Braylon Trice brings that same type of toughness and physicality to the table. They both played with good motors. And I think that if the Baltimore Ravens could nab Braylon Trice into the second round, beginning of the third, they would absolutely hit a home run because he has a skill set that the Ravens don't have at that edge rush position at this point in time. So I think Braylon Trice plays like a Raven. He's probably my favorite edge of all the guys, and that's including some of the top guys like Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, so on and so forth. You can get a quality guy in Trice later in the draft and still come out with a similar productivity, I believe. All right, let's jump to our third pick in this mock draft, and that was wide receiver Johnny Wilson. Now I understand Johnny Wilson. It's not a lot of flash and dash. It's kind of a simple guy when it comes to just looking at him. But he's 6'6", 230 plus pounds, and that's kind of the Ravens' um, type or model of player. He puts me in the mind of a guy we know very well who went on to become a Pro Bowler and get big time money, and Darren Weiler. Remember Darren Weiler or Whaler, however you pronounce his last name? He started out with the Ravens at wide receiver. He moved inside to tight end and flourished. Unfortunately, he couldn't finish out that time with the Ravens. He ended up moving on, I think, to the Raiders. Now he plays in New York. But when you look at Johnny Wilson, he's big, strong, has some speed for a guy his size, kind of very similar to a Waller. Maybe that's the better pronunciation of his name. And I think that he could bring a physicality to the wide receiver room, a height weight advantage to the wide receiver room that we don't have right now either. A guy who can play the boundary, has some deceptive speed, and I think he could be a good addition if you could add a guy like a Johnny Wilson uh, late in the third, early in the fourth. I think that would be a good benefit. Now, you guys got to remember before you criticize my draft picks, I know that's two wide receivers in the first three picks, no offensive linemen, but remember, I'm just identifying guys who play like Ravens. They kind of fit the type and mold of former Ravens players. And so with pick 101, I selected Kyrie Jackson, a guy who I believe fits a Ravens model, a type of player, height, weight, speed, physicality, instinct, smarts. Kyrie Jackson is a big corner, 6'3", 194. And the guy he reminds me of is a guy like a Jimmy Smith. Not that he is Jimmy Smith, by no means. He has to prove it in the league, but Jimmy Smith was a great cover guy. He could play man, he could play zone, but he was, consistent when he was in the game. 6'2", Jimmy Smith was 200 plus pounds. Jackson is a little taller, but their game is very similar. Now, when I say game is very similar, I'm not talking about exact, right? But big corners typically play very similar to other big corners. And so I think Jackson fits kind of, the Ravens' criteria for a cornerback. Even Marlon Humphrey right now is, 6', 6'1". I think Brandon Stevens is right at, 6', 6'1", somewhere in there. If I'm thinking about it correctly, we've seen a guy like Anthony Everett from several years ago, a bigger corner. And so I think that Kyrie Jackson has the skill set, the talent, and all the attributes that fits the Ravens model. I think he plays like a Raven. Would love to have him in-house, especially if you can get him in the third round. I think he ended up sneaking into the first round, regardless of what all of the smart people say. Where he say he's going to be drafted, I think he slides into that late second, early third round for personally. And then the last guy, I know we have the offensive tackle Glaze, and I won't talk much about him. I don't have a type for him other than his height and weight kind of fits a Ronnie Stanley. His analysis kind of fits a Ronnie Stanley when I'm talking about his talent and skill set. By no means am I saying he is Ronnie Stanley, but I'm just saying his height, weight, and the description of his skills kind of fits what Ronnie Stanley's was when he came out of Notre Dame. And then so the last player, but I am going to say play like a Raven, is Brendan Allen, running back out of Wisconsin. This guy's young. He's only 20 years old, 6'1", 234 pounds. Just sounds like the type of player the Ravens need in their life. And I think he is the young running back who was working out with Derrick Henry. So there is a Ravens type connection there already. Would love to see the Ravens nab him in the fourth round. He could certainly be the running back of the future as he learns and grows. He could be a better version, a more explosive version of Gus Edwards. So listen, man, let me know what you guys think about the players. Do you like them, love them, hate them? Do you think they fit the association that I gave them? And do you think they could, help the Ravens in this year's pursuit of a championship? I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM. We're out.